Your eyes do not deceive you. What you're looking at right now is the new Heroic Anthem map in Rise of Kingdoms. Yes, these are level 50 barbarians that could drop an upwards of 100 gems. In this video, we are going to break down everything we can learn from the Heroic Anthem format by getting a clean look at the map. Stick around for all the details you need to know. Hello, my friends, and welcome back. I'm Chisgule Gaming, and today we're looking at the new Heroic Anthem KvK format. We are looking at the actual map, not with the fog, but without it. So we're going to take a tour of the map, see everything there is to know, and share that information with you in this video. If you like Rise of Kingdoms guides that help you get value and smash your enemies, consider smashing that subscribe button for daily Rise of Kingdoms videos. We are a sponsored content creator, and this is exciting to get a look at. The corner zones is where each of the camps will start in this KvK format, and these zones are freaking huge. I'm expecting they're going to house multiple kingdoms. Zooming in, we have some structures that we are familiar with. This is a ruined Crusader Fortress. However, when we get a look at this, it now gives a buff of increasing the coalition member limit. Remember, the coalition is the number of alliances that are working together. And so my suspicion here is that some of these holy sites are going to maybe give you more alliances that can all be in the same coalition, reinforcing each other's structures, joining each other's rallies, and all that good stuff, which is really exciting. Cruising out, we can see more structures in here that we probably are familiar with. Here is a Crusader Camp. This gives the same benefits it gave before, 25% gathering speed. This is familiar to us. Zooming back out, oddly enough, there is, what is this? An ancient ruins in your starting zone. I wonder how much battling will take place in your starting zone. I'm going to guess that it's a pretty safe place to be. And honestly, I doubt there will be fighting over these. It would be very, very astonishing to me if that were to be the case, unless maybe your kingdom gets overrun in this zone. That to me means you've probably already lost. Looking a bit further around, we do see another ancient ruins in here. And from there, there's a couple directions you can go. The first pass that we see here is a level 4 pass. So this typically means it's going to be the first pass that will open, and it takes you into a neighboring zone. In that neighboring zone, we do see one holy site, and that is a sanctuary. This particular sanctuary gives 10% march speed, and I suspect that that is going to be the same sort of buffs that we've been used to from those holy sites in previous KvKs. That seems to be the only holy site of note in that zone, and you are able to now battle with your neighbor. So it does seem like you could either battle to the right or battle up north, which is kind of exciting. I think it's highly possible that different camps will try to ally up in this KvK format in order to create a favorable situation. Hard to say if that actually will be worth it until we know exactly how the rewards work out to see if that actually does make a lot of sense. But it does look like you get some action right away here from these level 4 passes. And then what do we have over here? This is a level 5 pass. So this is presumably the next tier of pass that will open up. That takes you to a larger zone, it seems, with circles. And in this zone, it is actually uncontested by the opposing side. So unless you can get run over at the start, and these passes do not become semi-protected. In other words, it is entirely possible. It seems unlikely to me, but it's possible that you could invade the enemy's starting zone at the start. I'm going to assume you can't. And these will be semi-protected, so you can work your way out, but the enemy can't work their way in. It looks like for some amount of time, you might get a Zone 5 to yourself. Then you can battle at the Altar of Darkness. And I do kind of like this. Even if you lose these side zones, okay? You lose this side zone, you lose this side zone, you do still get to advance to a new zone and do something there. And okay, you lose one buff for your coalition. Granted, it is the whole coalition, and the coalition is rather large, but like, they're all 10% march speed, it looks like. So that's not such a big deal. Okay, so looking over here, there are these circles. The circles give probably the same buffs that we're used to. In fact, they do. Healing speed and hospital capacity. I kind of like the healing speed and hospital capacity. Not as much as more combat-oriented ones like this one over here. This is the Primo. 3% all damage and 10% rally capacity. Ooh, that's a good one. That is the premium structure. The final circle that is available to us is reinforcement capacity of 20%, and watchtower damage. Honestly, all but worthless. We'll have to get a look around and see if some of these other circles maybe offer some other buffs. In fact, they do. Counterattack damage and AP recovery. Okay, so there are some different buffs going around here. I won't look in depth at those now. What I want to get a look at is where people will go next. Now, there's the Altar of Darkness, so you do get to battle against 2 different kingdoms or coalitions, or I suppose it is a coalition. It could be a camp, 2 entire camps you battle against. If you were really slick, your camp could take both of these. Seems unlikely to me. And then the next pass is going to take you level 8 pass. I think the next pass, so level 5 takes you here. Level 6 presumably takes you here. Where is the level 7 pass? Wait a minute. Do you invade the neighboring zone first? Oh my gosh, you do. So before you even battle for Kingsland, you can fight your neighbor if you want, and this zone becomes contestable. Now look, if you lost this zone over here, I think you're pretty likely to also lose the zone up over here. But what I think this means is that now people could actually circle their way around the map. In other words, one absolutely dominant camp could actually charge their way into here, go through the pass, charge their way into there. Yeah, charge their way through this pass and go into the next zone. It's very interesting. This is very interesting how this could play out. Okay, so you have my attention. This is all pretty exciting. The level 8 pass is how you get into Kingsland. That's the final zone. Now, how will you get the crucial rewards in this KvK format? We don't entirely know yet how that's going to be. We do see, however, that there is individual honor, alliance honor, kingdom honor. My suspicion is that these are going to give you the currency that ultimately you use to get some of those top tier rewards. And the Zig Guardians do the same thing that they've been doing the entire time. We do see some Barb camps here, and the Barb camp is level 35 to start, which is pretty slick. Hitting the info button on this, maybe we can find out about the loot. The loot table looks like it will level up to level 40 at the top tier. So it starts a little bit higher and will make its way up to level 40. Pretty exciting. A lot of loot you can get from one of these barbarian keeps. So all in all, this format looks really exciting. What's my prediction offhand for how this is going to go? My goodness. I think the initial skirmishes are going to determine a lot about how things will go unless people group up. And if they group up, if entire camps decide to work together, then things are going to get really spicy. Will folks go for a 3v1, which sounds kind of boring, honestly, right? Like you get a clean win, but was it worth it? Is that fun? I don't know. Maybe it is. Or you could go for a 2v2, which probably has moderate rewards, I assume. And that seems a lot more likely, right? So if you're allied with any one of these camps, it's actually a pretty interesting situation. See, in previous KvK formats, you could get locked into a starting zone, specifically Season 1 and Season 2. But in this KvK format, the thing that I'm excited about is, let's say that your neighbors are both enemy kingdoms, okay? That means that the person on the opposing side might be an ally kingdom for you. So that means you and your ally could squeeze the top kingdom, just like how you could get squeezed by the 2 enemy kingdoms north of you and to the right of you. Also, like you could squeeze the bottom kingdom, right? So like it is a much more even situation. That is what excites me about this. There's no world in which you get a 2-on-1 before the KvK has even really kicked off in full. So I like that a lot. I like that it does seem like there will be more time for everybody to enjoy doing some amount of what we're all here to do, right? Which is a little bit of combat and Rise of Kingdoms, right? Actually use those troops for what they're made for. And I like that you don't just get knocked out right away. You at least have one other zone of opportunity that you can go and explore. If something goes completely sideways, okay, you can do something about that. And will these zones ever be completely safe? I guess you could use the same shenanigans to try to lock somebody into their pass. That seems possible, but you'd have to be a pretty strong kingdom. Now, look, the other way that you could configure the map is, let's say you're allied with the kingdom to the right, so the bottom 2 corners are allied. That means as a 2-camp group, you'd have this kingdom safe. That means you would have these zones as yours. you'd have one altar of darkness you share, and you would contend one over here and one over here, and it'd be two 1v1s, which is interesting as well. So who you pick as an ally, assuming that's even a thing in this game mode, and I think it will be, is going to be a big deal here because there's two major ways that can play out. And it's interesting to see there are two ways, I think, that this can go. You've got the catty corners allying, where it's like the bottom left and upper right, or you've got like the bottom left and bottom right working together and they're neighbors, which is interesting. Either way, I think it's going to create a pretty good experience, which makes me pretty hopeful for how this KvK will go. But let me know in the comments what you think is going to happen here. If I hit the explore button, ooh, we can get a look here and see that there are bastions in the Lost Kingdom. This, I think, is where the commanders are going to reside that you get quests from. So it could be that you maybe need to be in some of these zones to interact with these bastions. It does seem like they have a radius around them. So there might be something you've got to do with these where owning the zones is going to matter. There are a bunch of them scattered throughout the map, including a bunch in the starting zones. A lot in the starting zones. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It looks like maybe 6 in the starting zones. So there's a bunch of these all throughout the map. Maybe, well, I guess we'll see how they work. If you're looking for more information on the Heroic Anthem KvK format, check out the card I have up in the top where I broke down all of the rewards and the rules. I have an account in Kingdom 2 right now. We're going to be watching how that KvK unfolds, learning everything we can for when we go into this KvK on my main. If you want to see all the action, subscribe to the channel for daily Rise of Kingdoms videos. Throw a like on here if you enjoyed this, and until next time, you have fun smashing the kingdom.